let's talk about Syria real quick, because of course we all know at this point that the Biden administration has acted swiftly based on their reasoning to strike in Syria. There's outrage everywhere right now, understandably. The 36th day of his presidency, this is the Gravel Institute saying they bombed Syria, gave up on the minimum $15 minimum wage, and didn't send out survival checks. So instead of getting to the nitty gritty about like what happened in Syria, we will touch on it tomorrow extensively. I want to touch on it from that point because we are in the 36th day of the presidency, and it seems as if we're just back in the Obama administration, but we have to recover from Trump's and a pandemic and so much. So Julia, I mean, is there any indication right now that the Biden administration is planning to do anything that they campaigned on? Frankly, like.
Yeah, I mean, I totally understand where you're coming from. I think it will be hard to answer that until we kind of see what happens with, the relief package that will hopefully pass at some time in March. But, obviously he has so much power that he could use through executive orders. I think you make the, good point that what the Syria bombings show is that he could do anything he wanted to, and it's kind of about what he chooses to do. So is he going to be the biggest champion of the things he promised on the campaign trail? It doesn't really seem like that, but I don't think that necessarily means that there's kind of no hope for anything good to happen, because I think, outside pressure can work.
I mean, it was so frustrating yesterday. We covered the deportation centers extensively, and, showing the clips of Kamala Harris just a couple of months ago, calling it inhumane, a humanitarian crisis. And then the administration, Esperanza, I mean, like, there's so much outside pressure. There was so much outside pressure from liberals that supported Joe Biden and progressives, of course, and people who've been on the ground doing this work for decades. And it didn't work in the Trump administration. And I think my concern here now is the lesson that the Biden administration may have taken from the Trump administration is that they don't have to respond to the movement.
Yeah. I mean, look, this is the ugly truth of U.S. imperialism. I mean, liberals can be outraged all they want. They can threaten about voting this person or that person out of office. That doesn't matter. Like, you need a diversity of tactics. You need a united front. And importantly, which is missing from the US left, which tends to fall deeply into American chauvinism, is that you need an international front. Every single issue that we are experiencing is connected to the looting and the exploitation, the super exploitation of the third world, of nationally oppressed people. Our struggle is their struggle. And until we realize that and explain that in every issue we talk about, this is going to keep happening. I mean, it's not a coincidence that we are not getting any assistance during a time where more people have died than 9/11. And at the same time, the US empire continues on its path of warmongering. And yet we're supposed to be grateful for a few organizers in Georgia for putting this man in. I mean, come on, we need better. And we need to face the fact that this is the ugly face of imperialism. And until we unite and fight it in an organized, a conscious, and a militant way, this is going to keep happening. And we're simply passing our problems off to the next generation.
But it's the point of no return at this point. I mean, that's, I think, every time we have this, every single time that we have a conversation about foreign policy, there's this existential like fear of, how climate change isn't being dealt with, how we continue to invade countries that have, or keep boots on the ground in countries that have some sort of financial ties or interest that we have financial interest or oil in. And yet, like, $2,000 checks. I don't know. I mean, I'm baffled at this point. It's like a collection of issues that just like was thrown on our laps today, and what to prioritize, how to feel, how to organize with so much, I think is it's very hard for people right now to kind of have a sense. So anyways, I appreciate you too, Esperanza Fonseca, Julia Rock. Thanks for joining us today for Femme Friday. Thanks for watching and listening to The Nomiki Show. But remember to click like and subscribe on YouTube, and please share on social media. If you're not already a patron, please join us for as low as $5 a month on patreon.com/The Nomiki Show for early and special content. That investment makes a huge difference. We are not corporate media raking in the dough.
It's really you guys that are keeping us going. So please consider being a patron. And to our current patrons, thank you so much. We are incredibly grateful to you. We also now have swag. So check us out on the nomikishow.com to get your mugs, your totes, and your stickers.